Hello guys, in this lecture we will look at observational learning. In observational learning, human beings learn through social behavior, therefore we call social learning as well. Okay, observational learning observe acquired knowledge by observing model behavior being rewarded or punished by the society. Try to understand. If you want to be like APJ Abdul Kalam or like Atal Bihari Vajpayee or like Manmohan Singh or any good role model. Okay, so what you are doing, you are observing them and you acquire knowledge by observing model behavior. Model is Kalam Sahab, Manmohan Singh, Sam Manekshaw, Indira Gandhi, or any leader, or any actor as well, or any cousin. You think he is superior than you, or you think he is rewarded by the society, or any actor like Amir Khan, like Shah Rukh Khan, Akshay Kumar, anyone like Amitabh Bachchan, Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli. If you want to be a good cricket player, then your role model will be Virat Kohli, Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar. So you observe model behavior and which is being rewarded or punished by the society. While you are observing his behavior or her behavior, you acquire knowledge. Modeling in many situations, individual does not know how to behave in certain situations, so they observe others, emulate their behavior. Observing object is model. Let's suppose you are sitting in any restaurant and you are having any continental food. You have ordered by chance because there is only continental food in the restaurant, like Japanese very famous dish, sushi, and you don't know how to eat it. So you will see around you how people are having that sushi by knife, by cones, by forks, how they are eating, and then you are observing their behavior and then you started eating with their style. Okay, and let's suppose any foreigner came to India and he does not know how to eat roti and sabji. So what he will do, he will look at you, he will observe you, and then will eat like you. So what he is doing, foreigner, he is observing you. Okay, so you are model for him. ठीक है, कई बार हम भी करते हैं, हमें समझ में नहीं आता है नाइफ एंड फोक से कैसे खाना है, तो हम भी लोगों की तरफ देखते हैं, अच्छा लेफ्ट हैंड में फोक पकड़ना है और राइट हैंड में नाइफ पकड़ना है। चॉपस्टिक से कैसे खाते हैं वो हमें नहीं पता है, तो हम देखते हैं लोगों को, अच्छा चॉपस्टिक को ऐसे पकड़ा जाता है दो उंगलियों के बीच में और विद द सपोर्ट ऑफ थंब। तो जिसको हम देख रहे हैं वो हमारे लिए मॉडल है। सो इन मेनी सिचुएशन इंडिविजुअल डज नॉट नो हाउ टू बिहेव इन सर्टेन सिचुएशन, दे ऑब्जर्व अदर एंड इमुलेट देयर बिहेवियर। ऑब्जर्विंग ऑब्जेक्ट इज मॉडल। बहुत ही अच्छा एग्जांपल है कोहली। कोहली इज द बेस्ट प्लेयर इन द वर्ल्ड, बट उसने एबी डिविलियर्स का स्टाइल देखा कि वो कैसे एक बॉल पे 10 से 15 तरीके के शॉट मार सकता है। सो नाउ ही इज ऑल्सो लर्निंग फ्रॉम देम, एबी डिविलियर्स। ओके, बिकॉज ये उसके लिए रोल मॉडल है कि मुझे मैं और कैसे नए शॉट्स को इन्वेंट कर सकूं। तो कोहली के लिए एबी डिविलियर्स मॉडल है। इज इट ओके? Bandura and his colleagues, in a series of experiment studies, investigation, observation, learning in very greater detail, we will talk about what we have seen in learning in operant and classical conditioning. We have few set of instructions and few set of consequences that we do or that we observe. But people can learn without changing their behavior. You are not changing your behavior. In other words, people can learn through observation alone, and their learning may not necessarily shown in their performance. Okay, आपने सीख तो लिया, but you cannot show your performance. You cannot replicate that in your performance. Okay, आपने रोटी बनाना सीख तो लिया अपनी मॉम से, बट आप उसको बना नहीं पा रहे हैं अभी। आपने ड्राइंग बनाना सीख तो लिया, बट आप उतनी सफाई से उसको परफॉर्म नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। सो दैट इज डिफरेंट थिंग। Social learning can be considered as an effort to incorporate both behaviorist and cognitivist tradition with a single framework. Behaviorist and cognitivist. Person, environment, and behavior can influence each other. ये person, environment, and behavior can influence each other. How come? Person's behavior can influence environment, also can influence your behavior. Consequences produced by a behavior involve cognitive mediation. How come? We will talk about that. Wait for a while. Therefore, reinforcement needs to be understood with respect to the understanding the organism carries for the reinforcement. जो भी consequences हमारे होते हैं हमारे behavior की वजह से उसके cognitive mediation उसके लिए जरूरी है. Okay, therefore reinforcement need to understood with respect to the understanding of organism carries for the reinforcement. Okay, and what other things like attention and retention also plays an important role in social learning. कितनी अच्छे से आप अटेंड कर रहे हो ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हो वो भी एक इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है और कितना रिटेन मतलब कितना रिमेम्बर मेमोराइज कर सकते हो उस चीज को दैट इज ऑल्सो प्लेज अ इम्पोर्टेंट रोल इन लर्निंग एंड you know with this cognition plays an important role in learning. Okay, awareness and expectations of future reinforcement or punishment can have a larger influence on the behavior. Like if you think you will get punishment by this act, by this behavior, by this action, then your behavior will influence with this. If you think the society will appreciate you, then your cognitions will say do it and with the intensity, with the more attention, with the more expectations and with the more awareness as well. So cognition plays an important role in learning as well. Expectations, awareness, punishment, reinforcement, all these things plays an important role. We will talk about that in the case studies. So Bandura gave observation learning model. In this, first you have to select your model, then acquire your knowledge about his behavior and observation of behavior by the observer and vicarious reinforcement. What is vicarious? You experience something by read something or watching something. Okay, let's suppose any documentary or any vlog and you are reading something about and what else and you are converting it into the performance that is your actual reinforcement. This is observation learning model of Bandura. Let's suppose Virat Kohli is admired AB de Villiers. They are cricketer. He is number one player and he is learning, he is observing his skills and try to reinforce himself by watching him, by reading about him, and then convert that learning into performance. Okay, so this is observational learning, and this is observation learning model of Bandura. But Bandura has distinguished both learning and performance and believe that people can perform may not exhibit their learning into the performance. Means you cannot ensure someone is learned something and he can convert that into the performance. Because performance is something else and learning is something else. There is a difference between two. Okay, so reinforcement facilitates learning, but it is not the essential factor for it. We can learn from seeing any model. Whatever you are observing someone, that is your model. Learning has its own origin in direct reinforcement of response or vicarious experiences. Learning can occur from two sources. These two sources are response consequences or modeling. Response followed by the consequences and consequences led to effect. आपने कोई भी response दिया उसके कुछ तो consequences होंगे और जो consequences होंगे वो आपका effect generate करेंगे. But these effects do not follow automatically from the consequences. उसमें आपके cognitive, emotions, everything वो भी matter करती हैं. Complex human behavior requires cognitive mediation of an individual in order to reward for the consequences. So reinforcement do not automatically follow from the consequences of the response. Now, what is response consequences? Every response a person makes is followed by some consequences. ठीक है? Every response, we have separate slide for this. Every response a person makes followed by some consequences. जो भी आपका response होगा उसके कुछ ना कुछ consequences होंगे. वो पॉजिटिव भी हो सकते हैं और नेगेटिव भी हो सकते हैं. उनसे आपको सेटिस्फेक्शन भी हो सकता है, उनसे आपको डिससेटिस्फेक्शन भी हो सकता है, और this might be a case you have very little importance of that consequences. So complex human behavior requires cognitive mediation and learning can occur more effect if learner is cognitively involved. Is it simple? Now, you know what is consequences response? And response consequences has three functions: impact information, motive, and reinforcement. We have noticed the effect of our action and retain this info as a guide for the future. Retain, you retain something. कोई भी इफेक्ट हुआ, लाइक आपने कुछ भी हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट को पकड़ा और उससे आपको जल गया, तो आप क्या करेंगे, वो आपके फ्यूचर एक्शंस में वो एज ए गाइड के काम करेगा, क्योंकि वो आपने रिटेन करके रखा हुआ है। जैसे चॉपस्टिक से आप खाना सीख रहे हैं, चॉपस्टिक से आपने कैसे खाया और वो गिर गया, तो आपका वो एज ए गाइड करेगा, ऐसे मुझसे गलती हुई है, अभी मुझे चॉपस्टिक को ऐसे पकड़ना है। ठीक है, तो दिस इज अबाउट इम्पैक्ट। एंड व्हाट इज मोटिव? रिवॉर्ड कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज गाइड्स अस एंटिसिपेट आवर बिहेवियर। पीपल कैन रिप्रेजेंट फ्यूचर आउटकम ऑफ आवर एक्शन एंड एक्ट अकॉर्डिंगली। जो भी आपके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज होंगे वो आप एंटिसिपेट करेंगे और उस तरीके से आप बिहेव करेंगे कि मैं अगर इस तरीके से बिहेव करूंगा, if I behave in a certain way, then this can lead to reward consequences. So people can represent future outcome of our action. आपने पहले ही फ्यूचर आउटकम देख लिया कि मैं ऐसे बिहेव करूंगा तो उससे मुझे रिवॉर्ड मिलेगा या अप्रेज करेंगे लोग, एंड यू एक्ट अकॉर्डिंगली. They not only process insight but also foresight. So, and next one is reinforce. Though this idea is rooted in Skinner's theory, Bandura gave a cognitive perspective to it. Animal understand what it is doing and what is likely to receive when response is successful. I think it is very clear. No confusion should be in this. Animals को पता है कि वो क्या कर रहे हैं और उनसे उसको क्या मिलने वाला है जब वो रेस्पॉन्स सक्सेसफुल हो गया तो. So this is a reinforcement. This is a Bandura's cognitive perspective about response consequences. मोटिव क्या है? आपको पहले ही आपने एंटिसिपेट कर लिया है कि बाहर ठंड होगी और आपने कपड़े पहनना शुरू कर दिया आपने, तो आपने ऐसे ही बिहेव किया जो आपने फ्यूचर आउटकम को प्रेडिक्ट कर सकते हैं आपने दिमाग में. ओके, सो दिस नीड फोरसाइट. आई थिंक फोरसाइट को दूरदर्शिता कहते हैं. एंड नेक्स्ट वन इज मॉडलिंग. Let's talk about modeling. Modeling is much more effective than learning through conditioning. Is effective than conditioning. Okay. Why? Because we spare many activities and choose few that followed by punishment and reinforcement. But in observation learning account for how people learn some behavior that contribute to their personality. Like in KBC, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, he speaks very good Hindi. Okay, now you can make your role model to him and you can learn how he well speaks English and Hindi as well. So you are learning some behavior that contribute to their personality or your personality. Even like few, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he's a very good orator, he deliver very good speech, so you can learn some behavior about him in your personality. So he is a role model for you. What we have seen till now, human learning is not limited to response consequences alone, but our learning is acquired through modeling, that is by observing actions of others. Here is your model. You can see Sundar Pichai. He is a CEO of Google, but still he is very down to earth, and the way he attend the people is very, very, very warming. So you can learn this thing from him. Same thing from Kalam Sahab. He was a president of India. Still, he does not show ridicule behavior in the public. Or though it was his cardinal trait is something different, what is dominant trait, but he always treats people with very, very good smile and very welcoming nature. So, Kalam Saab can be role model for you. Even Manmohan Singh, economist. So there are so many examples where you can learn by observing actions of others. You can learn from even Nawazuddin Siddiqui. He is not that much good looking person according to your society. But the way he act in the movies, he's just superb. Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, there are so many examples you have. Manmohan Singh, even our Virat Kohli. Apart from Cricket, he's a role model of fitness industry as well. Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, so many of examples. Okay, so this is about modeling. Bandura demonstrates the importance of observational learning. It always allows you to learn new behavior, reminded of the behavior that one has not recently considered. It enables an individual to learn that every action has some consequences. It enables individual to bring about alteration in existing behavior and perfect it. Let's suppose you are good, but you are not good speaker. Okay, so what you are doing, everything is good. Everything is apart from that is very good. Now you are learning this speaking skills, not good speaker. Okay, so what you are doing, everything is good. Everything is apart from that is very good. Now you are learning this speaking skills and you are perfect almost. Let's suppose you are weak in English only. Your pronunciation is not good. So what you are doing, you are learning this behavior only. You are not going to copy everything about someone. You are only learning few things and you are making yourself perfect. ऐसा नहीं है कि पास वाला जो आपका नेबर है उसकी हर चीज आपको ऑब्जर्व करनी है और वो एक्वायर करनी है. कुछ चीजें उसकी अच्छी हैं. लेट्स सपोज ही इज वेरी अटेंटिव, तो उसकी ये स्किल्स ही हमें ऑब्जर्व करके लेनी है. ये नहीं अगर वो सिगरेट पी रहा है या फिर एग्रेसिव भी है वो भी लेना है. So what you want to do for yourself, you want to perfect yourself. Perfect, not in absolute term, but perfect. And alteration in your existing behavior. Let's suppose someone is always speak with very good words, or he is empathetic person. So what you want to do in your personality, you will acquire this thing and do it. There's some person वो खुद को हमेशा क्लीन रखते हैं एंड अपने आसपास चीजें पूरा सामान जगह पे रखते हैं. सब कुछ उनकी लाइफ में एकदम जगह पे होता है. डिसिप्लिन. तो तुम्हें क्या करना है, ऑल्दो यू आर इंटेलिजेंट, बट आप ये भी अपनी पर्सनालिटी को परफेक्ट करने के लिए एक्वायर करने की कोशिश करेंगे बाय ऑब्जर्वेशन टू अदर. फैक्टर्स दैट इन्फ्लुएंस मॉडलिंग. कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ मॉडलिंग, characteristic of the observer, consequences of modeling behavior. So, what is characteristics of model? His status, prestige, power, credibility, attractiveness, similarity, competitiveness, and nurturance. These are the characteristics of the model. आप किसी भी अपने से कम प्रेस्टीज वाले बंदे से या फिर जिसमें कुछ गुण नहीं है या फिर क्वालिटीज नहीं है उसको आप रोल मॉडल नहीं बनाएंगे. उसका एक स्टेटस होना चाहिए, प्रेस्टीज होनी चाहिए, क्रेडिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए. इट डज नॉट अबाउट रिच एंड पुअर, इट इज अबाउट क्रेडिबिलिटी, attractiveness, similarity, competitiveness. These all things should be in the model what you are looking for. And characteristic of the observer is age, gender, status, power. Why age? Teenager mostly follows their role models, and after 30, the people used to be settled down. And gender, why gender? Because girls will make role model to girls mostly, and boys makes role model to boys only. In status, it's in most of the cases, not all the time, but most of the cases, status of observer is lower than the model most of the time. But few believes in learning by intrinsic motivation. So like Virat Kohli, he tries to learn from even AB de Villiers. AB de Villiers is not as big as Virat Kohli. Even so many players and power. Now consequences of modeling behavior. Individual more likely to learn behavior faster that the results in reward for the observer. Let's suppose if you have observed something and that is not going to give you reward, so your intrinsic motivation will go down and then you will not learn fast. But if someone is going to award you, let's suppose you are going to build up your muscle and everyone is gonna recognize your muscles, growing muscles, and then this is affiliation, is reward for you. So you are going to build up your muscle faster. So there are three things: characteristic of models, observer, and consequences. These are three factors influencing modeling. Let's talk about process of observation learning. The first one is attention, and then retention, motor production, and motivation. We will talk about all of them one by one. Attention is regulated perception and influenced by many things, such as if your interest is there, you will attend. उसकी utility क्या है? Where you are going to utilize utility, where you are going to utilize that. Novelty, opportunity to observe the behavior. So what all these things will help you to make attention while observing something. Retention, next one. Observer must remember the behavior observed for that they should be able to symbolically represent or resemble the observed behavior. Resemble, memorization, resemble. Okay. And third one is motor production. In this, you are physically replicate models behavior. So what you are doing in motor production, what I am doing, and finally evaluate by asking the other, am I doing right or wrong? नाम तो सुना होगा, like all the mimic artists, what they are doing, they are observing their attention. Like if they are doing mimicry, they used to act in a certain way. Okay, they mimic like Amitabh Bachchan, and they have to act according to Amitabh Bachchan. Like they will use their left hand to action. So all these things you have to physically resemble, and you will go for the feedback. That this performance is facilitated by motivation to enact that behavior. Okay, this performance is facilitated by motivation. When you don't have motivation, how can you replicate that behavior? No, na. Attention and retention can lead to acquisition of learning, but performance can be facilitated by the motivation only. So to conclude this, the modeling is facilitated by observing appropriate behavior with properly coding, representation in the memory, and act to perform. Let's see with the help of case study designed by the Bandura. In Bobo doll experiment, what was Bobo doll experiment? Let me give you in one or two lines. There was preschool children called for research. What they are doing, they have divided them into three groups. First group, second group, थ्री ग्रुप एंड शो डिफरेंट वीडियो. तीन ग्रुप में बांट देते हैं और उनको अलग अलग मूवीज दिखाते हैं. फर्स्ट ग्रुप को मूवी क्या दिखाते हैं? देयर आर पर्सन हु इज यूजिंग और शोइंग एग्रेसिव बिहेवियर इज बीइंग रिवॉर्डेड. जो भी एग्रेसिव बिहेवियर दिखा रहा है उसको रिवॉर्ड मिलता है भाई. एग्रेसिव बिहेवियर टू बोबोडॉल. बोबोडॉल just is a name, it's kind of cartoon character. And in second, who is showing aggressive behavior, punish them. And second, no punishment and no reward. After a while, when the preschool children play with the Bobo doll, first group shows most aggressive behavior. This first group most aggressive behavior, and second group is least aggressive. This first group is most aggressive. And the third one is medium, or you can say this aggression is depend on person to person. Okay, it's not uniform. The first group was most aggressive and the second one is least aggressive. So what you can see, this experiment demonstrates that aggressive behavior can be acquired through observation learning. Okay, watching violent behavior program will lead to display of violent behavior in real life. Okay, what they are doing in Big Boss, वो आपस में लड़ते रहते कुछ भी बोल के, illogical चीजें बोल के. So what you are doing when you have any argument with someone, then you are using these tactics and will try to defame or drag him into the lower level. So this violent behavior program will lead to display of violent behavior in real life. There is a very good study on this as well. The children of Afghanistan is more aggressive than Indian. Same with Afghanistan, same with Afghan, same with Syria. I hope you got the point now. Rewarding violent behavior strengthens violent behavior that lead to have following impact. First is desensitization. your sensitivity will go, or you will desensitize. Second one is disinhibition. Disinhibition is you won't stop yourself. Third one is you will justify doses of violence. इसके साथ ये होना चाहिए था. Okay, you are going to justify. Learn new ways of committing violence. CID effect. Southern India. Okay, so these are the problems when you are rewarding the violent behavior. Same thing with the pornography as well. Okay, they induce violent behavior based on the disrespect of body of men and women. So this is the major problem in the pornography as well.